So, hello, welcome to my little Zoom room. We're
Well,
gonna
yeah,
we're gonna take this. I did an interview this morning and I described it as elementary school style. So we're gonna do our introduction that way.
all
So
right.
sweet. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself with like your name, your pronouns, what role you're playing, and anything
Sure.
else you want people to know?
Yeah, well, my name is Cody Vaughn. I play Oliver in Oliver and Isaac. Uh, I am gay, fully gay, and I go by he, him pronouns. And I guess if we're doing like that whole interesting thing about me, I
Yeah.
like just got into like hardcore politics like last year, and I've been going hard ever since. So progressive all the way.
Progressive all the way. Welcome to the team. Honestly, the best team to be on. We didn't mean to get
Yeah.
political in the interview, but here we are.
Yeah, it had to come
life's
up.
life's political. Life has become political, so that's good. Um, so what intrigued you about being involved in Oliver and Isaac? Like when you were thinking about auditioning or whatever, what struck you
Yeah.
about it?
Well, I have to admit, I think one of the things that drew me to it was that it was going to be over Zoom, because as
Mm,
much experience as I've had, I've actually never done anything over Zoom. So I thought it would be very interesting to at least have it under my belt and at least use it for resume purposes. And so that's what I originally drew me to auditioning in the first place. But when Shawn sent us the kind of link of who the characters were and what they were about, Oliver jumped out at me because I think for the most part, he is the kind of person that tries, and
mm.
it may not come off the way he intends it to, but he works hard and he absolutely tries in everything he does. And I think he's kind of like a match to who I am. So, yeah.
That's great. It's always nice when you find a character you're like, oh, I really connect with them on that
Yeah.
level. Yeah. Since you mentioned doing theater over Zoom, what has been the biggest challenge with that? And then what is the best part about that?
Oh, well, the best part is seeing everybody's home life. And spoiler alerts for people out there, but Chris dealing with his cat in the middle of our Zoom rehearsals, that's the best thing in the world. Um, but I think that's the best part, is just seeing everyone in their like kind of homes and doing all this stuff and just, still taking it 100% seriously and doing the work. I would say that the hardest thing is actually me in my house, because I got basic brown walls. And so when, you're supposed to set up a different scene and you got to move your camera a little bit, it's just the same brown wall, this brown wall.
So being a
so,
little
so that's always kind of the,
improvising.
yeah. So that's always kind of the downside to my point, because I'm constantly messaging Shawn being like, hey, get ready for another brown wall,
I
But
got
yeah,
brown
it's
here.
great.
That's it. That's good. I feel like I'd be in the same boat. I'd be like, here's a blue wall, and you're getting that.
Yeah.
um, if you had three words to describe the show, Oliver and Isaac, how would you describe it?
Whew. I would honestly describe it as real,
Mm.
uh, challenging. And what I mean by challenging is trying to see where you fit. Because I don't know if it's just me, but anytime I watch a show or anytime I go to a theater or any kind of ensemble bit, I always try to picture which character I would be. So I would say challenging in terms of trying to figure out where you kind of go more in line with. So
Mm.
just in terms of characters and how they act and their backgrounds. And so I would say challenging in that sense of trying to see who your favorite character is and all that stuff, because we're all great. But
Yeah.
and then I would just leave it at just exciting at every turn. Yeah.
I love it. I
Something
love
new.
it. Makes me excited to watch it.
Well, great.
That's the point, right? What has been your favorite scene to work on, and maybe try for like minor spoilers, but not like a huge
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
spoiler. Yeah.
I would definitely say, I think my favorite has got to be the arguing scenes. I'll leave it at that. Mainly
Ooh.
because it's nice to try and show your anger over Zoom and try to incorporate maybe what I'm using now is my laptop. So using frustration out on my old janky laptop to show the anger in the show. I think that's probably the best part.
Oh, channeling the real stuff to get you in the moment.
Absolutely.
I love it. Since you're playing one of the title characters, what has been your process from the beginning of the rehearsal process compared to where you are now?
I think where I started was trying to be like, okay, how would Cody handle this scene? How would Cody handle this play? And I think just because Oliver and I are super close to each other, just in terms of who we are, I think the hardest part was trying to separate the two of us and to actually say, okay, no, this is Oliver's story, not Cody's. So, don't improvise and do your own thing. You got to do what Oliver would do. And so
Right.
I think that would be probably the most amount of work that I've done. Just not to sound lazy with my whole background thing, but
No.
yeah, I think just trying to draw that line, separate it, and really focus on, okay, this is not Cody's life, this is Oliver's life. And so, yeah.
Great answer. I love that. Okay, so since you mentioned politics earlier, we're gonna I mean, I had these questions, but I'm like, this ties in perfectly. So for you, as a person in the LGBTQ community, what is the state of the LGBTQ plus community now in the US, in your opinion?
I think it's a fighter, man. I mean, that's the only way that I can see it, because even when you look at things that have happened just recently, like a year ago, I mean, the whole LGBTQ plus community, and something I'm advocating for, is to get people to understand that, you don't just have to have some straight dude with muscles playing the gay character to try and represent us. Like, have a gay actor and have somebody that is actually a part of it, rather than just some straight guy that says he's an ally. So taking on all that kind of establishment roles and trying to break those barriers and to make people see that, just because a actual gay guy in real life is in a movie, he doesn't just have to be that stereotypical gay that makes all the jokes and is sassy and all that jazz, as funny as it is. But I mean, we got to break the barriers. We got to be the lead in roles, and we've got to, help get more out there to the people of the US, because, I'm a small town Kansas kid. So, someone like me that's gay, kind of looking into those roles, it's kind of like, well, who's going to want the small gay kid from the small town in Kansas? What drives me?
We do.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's always been that thing in the back of my mind that's been a confidence issue, just because it's kind of like, who's going to represent you? And so I would say that LGBTQ plus being involved in stage work, in movies and Zoom, I think it's just about breaking those barriers and fighting on and showing people we're not going away.
I love that answer. I'm from Iowa, so I understand I'm not like small town kid kind of vibe, so
Yeah.
like I didn't come out as bisexual till I was in undergrad, because I didn't feel comfortable, right? So
Right.
yeah, I think sometimes the small towns can be a little suffocating, but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah. So then, to close, for you, what does queer theater mean? And I guess since we're talking Zoom, what can queer Zoom theater accomplish, in your opinion?
Well, I think I would bring it back to just we can go anywhere with this. I mean, we could reach kids that are in Iowa, or we can reach people that are maybe in California, or even somewhere, kind of south where
Yeah.
it's kind of rough being a gay kid. So I think just being in theater, being on Zoom, any way we can get our message across that, hey, in a show just like Oliver and Isaac, they show that they are just as normal as any other straight couple. They are normal as any other kid going to school. They are normal as any other person going through life. And so I think that's just the best part about this is even the small kid from Kansas can actually reach someone and show them that it's okay and that they're not alone.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking with me, Cody. This has been a really great conversation.
Yeah, well, I love this, Alyssa. This is awesome.